All right, so get ready because today we're going to tackle a pretty fascinating rumor about, I guess you could say, one of America's most iconic landmarks,
Yeah.
the Statue of Liberty.
Hmm?
You probably know her as, a symbol of hope for immigrants, right?
Right.
But
Lady Liberty.
Lady Liberty, exactly.
Yeah.
But there's this persistent whisper out there that she was initially meant to be a tribute to the end of slavery and a black woman.
Oh, wow.
So,
That's, I
yeah.
mean, it's really amazing how these, how a monument's meaning can kind of shift and evolve over time.
Right.
Like, we think we know these symbols,
Yeah.
but they're often like hidden layers, untold stories, just kind of waiting to be uncovered.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we're diving into this today.
Sorry, yeah.
We're using a 2000 report from the National Park Service as our guide today.
Okay.
They really dug deep to investigate these rumors.
Okay.
And trust me, what they found is really interesting.
I believe it, yeah.
So-
I'm excited to hear about this.
Yeah, so let's break down like some of the most common Black Statue of Liberty claims.
Okay.
The first one we often hear is that the idea for the statue came about at a fancy dinner party in 1865,
Oh, okay.
right after Lincoln's assassination.
Gotcha.
Picture it, powerful figures toasting to freedom, and boom, the idea for Lady Liberty is born.
It's a very dramatic origin story for sure.
Right.
But the National Park Service report actually debunks this claim.
Oh, really?
The evidence actually points more to the statue being conceived between 1870 and 1871.
Interesting.
So a few years later than that supposed dinner party.
So maybe that dinner party story was just,
Right.
bit of clever fundraising.
Fundraising. Spin.
Yeah, a little bit of spin.
The statue's sculptor,
Yeah,
Auguste Bartholdi.
that's certainly a possibility.
Right.
And this kind of brings us to another intriguing claim.
Okay.
That Bartholdi and the statue's other main supporter, Edward de la Boulaye,
Okay.
were staunch abolitionists
Okay.
who wanted to honor black soldiers. Okay?
And their contributions during the Civil War.
Yeah, like a massive thank you to those who fought so bravely for freedom.
Exactly.
This claim seems plausible on the surface, especially knowing La Boullaye's strong anti-slavery views.
You're right. La Boulaye was a very vocal and active abolitionist.
Okay.
He truly believed that the end of slavery was America finally living up to the ideals laid out in the Declaration of Independence.
Okay.
So it wasn't just about ending a horrific practice.
Right.
It was about fulfilling the nation's core promise of liberty for all.
Wow, that adds a whole other layer to the conversation, doesn't it?
It does.
It connects the statue to something even bigger than just the abolition of slavery.
Exactly.
Mm.
But here's where things get a bit nuanced.
Okay.
While we know La Boulaye was passionate about abolition,
Mm-hmm.
there's no direct evidence linking the statue specifically to black soldiers.
Oh, okay.
It's a fascinating connection to consider,
Right.
but the report doesn't provide that concrete proof.
So while abolition was clearly on La Boulaye's mind, it might not have been the sole inspiration behind the statue.
Right.
Okay, so on to the next claim.
Okay.
Early models of the statue actually depicted a black woman,
Huh.
but white Americans rejected the idea.
Okay.
Now, this is where things start to get really interesting.
This is where we see that blend of truth and speculation.
Okay.
Bartholdi's design for the Statue of Liberty
Mm-hmm.
likely evolved from an earlier concept he had for a monument in Egypt.
Interesting.
He even used drawings of Egyptian women as models during the design process.
So hold on, so there were potentially sketches of Lady Liberty with, dare I say, more distinctly non-European look.
It's definitely possible,
Wow.
but the National Park Service report is clear.
Okay.
There's no definitive proof of a deliberate black liberty.
Okay.
The design changes Bartholdi made were probably more about refining the symbolism and overall aesthetic, not about appeasing anyone.
So maybe not a conscious effort to erase a black liberty,
Yep.
but still a fascinating glimpse into how the statue's design evolved.
It is, yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the last claim.
Okay.
That the whole immigrant meaning we associate with the statue was a later addition that overshadowed the original abolitionist message.
Right.
Is there any weight to this?
So this is where the report gets really thought-provoking.
Hmm.
The popular narrative of the Statue of Liberty as a symbol of welcome for immigrants, that's largely a 20th century development.
Wait, are you saying that the iconic image of immigrants arriving at Ellis Island gazing up at Lady Liberty wasn't the original intention at all?
Exactly.
Wow.
In the early years, the focus was much more on the abolition of slavery and the ideals of the American Revolution. The connection to immigration came later.
Wow, that completely changes how you view those old photos and films.
I know.
So the meaning we project onto the statue today might not be entirely accurate to its original context.
It's a perfect example of how symbols can evolve and take on new meanings over time, often reflecting the changing needs and perspectives of society.
Yeah.
And that's precisely what makes exploring these deeper layers so fascinating.
And it seems like the abolition of slavery played a much more central role in those early years than we often acknowledge,
Definitely.
which adds a whole new dimension to understanding the statue's legacy.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's actually really fascinating that even though Black Americans weren't, directly involved in the statue's creation, they still played a pretty significant role in its early history.
Okay, now we're getting into some uncharted territory.
Yeah.
Tell me more about their involvement.
Well, Black newspapers across the country were really strong advocates for the project.
Okay.
They saw it as a powerful symbol of, freedom and progress, even though the reality for many Black Americans at that time was far from equal.
So they embraced the statue even with that awareness of the hypocrisy it represented for them?
Yes, they understood its potential, its power to inspire hope.
Right.
And they weren't just passive supporters either.
Oh.
Black communities actually contributed financially to the pedestal fund, helping to make the statue a reality.
That's incredible. It really speaks to their resilience and determination to claim a piece of that promise of liberty,
Yeah,
even when faced with such stark inequalities.
it really does.
Yeah.
They even held their own celebrations during the statue's dedication in 1886.
Wow.
Imagine that, like a parallel celebration happening alongside the official one,
Okay.
a testament to their own unique journey towards freedom.
That's both inspiring and heartbreaking, isn't it?
Yeah,
This simultaneous celebration and struggle,
right.
this awareness that the statue's promise wasn't yet fully realized for them.
Exactly. And that tension,
Yeah.
that duality, is something that continues to resonate with the Statue of Liberty even today. It's a reminder that freedom is a constant fight,
Yeah.
an ongoing process.
Thinking about Lavalle's vision of the statue representing America fulfilling its promise of liberty for all, and then seeing how Black Americans responded to it, it adds a whole new layer of complexity to its meaning.
It certainly does.
Yeah.
It challenges us to look beyond the simple narrative
Uh-huh.
and consider the different perspectives, the hopes and struggles
Right.
that have been woven into the statue's story from the very beginning.
This deep dive has really flipped the script on what we thought we knew about Lady Liberty.
Yeah.
From its connection to abolitionist ideals to its evolving relationship with immigration, her story is far richer than just a simple welcoming symbol.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what makes exploring these alternative histories so valuable. By digging beneath the surface, by challenging the dominant narratives, we uncover these layers of meaning that make the statue even more relevant and powerful today.
So to circle back to our original question, was the Statue of Liberty intended to be Black?
Right.
Based on the evidence, probably not.
But what we've learned is that the question itself might not be the most important one.
Right. It's more about understanding the context,
Yeah.
the nuances, the
Yeah.
different perspectives that have shaped the statue's meaning over time.
And those different perspectives are crucial.
Yeah.
They remind us that even the most iconic symbols can be interpreted in a multitude of ways.
Right.
What the statue represents to you might be completely different from what it represents to someone else.
And those differing interpretations are all valid, all part of this larger conversation about history, identity, and the ongoing pursuit of freedom.
This deep dive has unearthed something much richer than a simple yes or no answer.
Yeah.
We've uncovered a hidden history of abolitionist ideals woven into the statue's origins, and a complex interplay of race and representation in American iconography.
And that interplay continues to this day, right?
Absolutely.
We're still grappling with these issues of race equality and what it truly means to be free in a society that's constantly evolving.
Absolutely. And that's what makes this exploration so vital.
Yeah.
By understanding the past, by unpacking the layers of meaning embedded in our symbols, we can better navigate the present and shape a more just future.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've debunked some myths, uncovered some hidden truths, and gained a whole new appreciation for Lady Liberty's complex and evolving symbolism. Okay, so we've spent this whole deep dive, kind of exploring the different meanings people have attached to the Statue of Liberty over time.
Yeah.
But what I'm curious about is
Hmm.
why should any of this even matter to us today?
Yeah.
Why should we care about, these hidden layers behind these seemingly familiar symbols?
That's a great question. And it really gets at the heart of how we engage with history.
Okay.
It's not just about memorizing facts and dates.
Mm-hmm.
It's about understanding how those narratives, those events, continue to shape our world today.
Right, it's like with the Statue of Liberty,
Mhm.
this deep dive has really challenged my assumptions about its meaning. Its connection to race and freedom.
For sure.
It's not just about welcoming immigrants, it's about so much more.
It's a powerful reminder that history is always being written and rewritten.
Right.
What we learn in textbooks, what
Mm.
we see in popular culture, it's often just one version of the story.
And sometimes it takes, digging a little deeper,
Hmm.
seeking out those alternative voices, those
Hmm.
perspectives that have been marginalized to get a more complete and nuanced understanding.
Exactly. And that's what makes exploring these hidden histories so enriching.
Yeah.
By questioning, by remaining curious, by embracing multiple perspectives, we gain a much richer understanding of the world around us.
So this isn't just about the Statue of Liberty, is it?
No, not at all.
It's about all the monuments, all the symbols that we encounter every day.
Right.
They all carry their own stories and layers of meaning.
Think about the statues in your town square,
Oh, yeah.
the historical markers,
Okay.
the buildings with the little plaques.
Yeah.
Each one has a story to tell. And often multiple layers of meaning waiting to be uncovered.
And by engaging with those stories, by acknowledging the complexity of the past, we can have more meaningful conversations about the present and the future.
It's about recognizing that history isn't static.
Right.
It's a living, breathing thing that we're all a part of,
Yeah.
shaping and reshaping it with every passing generation.
And each of us has the power to contribute to that history,
Mhm.
to help shape the narrative,
Absolutely.
to ensure that all voices are heard and all perspectives are considered.
As we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah. Yeah.
we want to leave you with one final thought, a sort of challenge, if you will.
Okay, I like it.
We encourage you to think about what the Statue of Liberty represents to you today. What does she symbolize in your mind?
Okay.
And what other monuments or landmarks in your community
Right.
might have stories waiting to be uncovered, stories that could challenge your assumptions and broaden your understanding of the world around you?
That's such a good point because, we pass these things every day and we don't even give them a second thought.
We don't even really see them.
Yeah.
Go explore, ask questions, and don't be afraid to dig a little deeper.
Love it.
You never know what hidden truths you might find.
Well, this has been fascinating. I always learn something new on these deep dives.
It's always a journey.
It really is. And thanks for coming on the show and sharing your expertise.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Until next time, keep those minds curious and never stop exploring those hidden layers of history.